Good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday, the 7th of August 2024. You're watching Morning Brew on Politics Social with me, Graham Hughes. It's a bit close to the camera today. That's a bit odd. Anyway, hello to everyone in the chat. We're going to have a good old bitch about Twitter. About Elon Musk today. But first of all, hello to everyone. Hello to Siska Edge, Gallifreyan Wren. Thanks to Billy Kershaw for joining us, as well as Jane Lockwood. Andrew's in there as well. We've got Anthony Fisher. We've got Sean. We've got Simon, Christopher. We've got Commander DJ Burp. We've got One Angry Pagan, probably, somewhere in there. We've got Lee Corn. We've got Lofty the Softy. We've got Colin Baker, my favourite doctor. We've got Shropshire Chris in there as well. Have you paid the lecky bill? Yeah, we had an electricity cut last time I was doing this, which was a bit weird. But it was the whole area. It wasn't just our house. It was the entire village was bereft of power for about half an hour. Anyway, Leanne Scott is there saying good day, everyone. Good day. Good day. So let's talk about the Syphilitic Saffer himself, Elon Musk, the world's most irritating man, a pound shop Lex Luthor, if you will. He wants to be Lex Luthor, but he's more Dr. Evil. He's a horrible man. Who's everyone he's ever been with has left him. He has about 17 children, most of whom hate him, especially Vivian, who is his trans daughter, who he keeps dead naming and being horrible about in public, and she gives it back just as much. Like to him, she really does fire back. I want her to write his biography. I think it'll be bloody wonderful. Anyway, so he's really outdone himself this week in terms of just being an evil bastard. First of all, stirring up. Well, he's allowed all these creeps back on his Twitter platform. He calls it X, but we're going to dead name it to death. It's Twitter. It was always Twitter. It will always be Twitter. He took over Twitter because he had to, after making a joke because he was stoned, I think, or off his tits on ketamine. I don't know. Anyway, he decided that he was going to buy this platform, this important platform. Twitter is an important platform. And I know that it doesn't get as much usage as other platforms, such as Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or even Reddit, I don't think. I think some of the smaller social networks get more actual users per month than Twitter does. However, it is the only platform that allows you to tell, I don't know, Lawrence Fox or Nigel Farage that they are a sack of fetid kidney vomit, and they might actually see your message. It doesn't happen on other platforms. It doesn't happen on this platform. I can call Boris Johnson a syphilitic bin bag full of custard, but it will never actually be heard by Boris Johnson. Whereas if I write it on Twitter, there's at least a chance that they'll see it and be very sad for the rest of the day. Anyway, he's allowed these knobheads like Haiti Hopkins, and that horrible Andrew Tate bloke, Trump, and others, these fashtards back onto Twitter. And so, as you would expect, it has become overrun by absolute scumbags who have set up fake accounts, paid their $7 a month or whatever that they have to pay, paid their $7, got themselves a blue tick so they look real, and put up the most disgusting, misogynistic, sexist, racist, homophobic, transphobic bile you could possibly imagine. And he's decided over all that, and he's quite happy about it because he's getting his $7 from these bot accounts, or £7 or whatever it is. I don't pay it. Anyway, so this is all sort of culminated in an advertising exodus of big names that no longer advertise with or on Twitter, which include Mars, which includes Unilever, includes Disney. And so what he's done this week, Not only has he had a go at our newly elected prime minister, even though these riots, this terrorism that's going on in our country at the moment, which he has sown the seeds of and is fanning the flames of by promoting lies that are propagated by the likes of Andrew Tate, picked up by the likes of Nigel Farage and other horrible, disgusting millionaire Nepo baby bastards who can't be asked doing anything constructive with their life, so all they do is destroy stuff. He has not only done that and, promoted people burning down a fucking library in my hometown of Liverpool. Thanks for that, Elon, you scumbag. He is an immigrant himself. He's an African immigrant living in the USA. He's a foreign immigrant. Like, you couldn't get any, more ridiculous than this. He is a foreign immigrant from Africa complaining from thousands of miles away about immigrants in the UK and saying that we should go and burn, I guess, inferring that we should go and burn buildings that have asylum seekers in because some of them might be from Africa, just like him. And therefore they don't deserve to have dignity, life, the idea of safety in a country which they have decided to come to ask for refugee status, to ask for asylum. No, we're not having that. So obviously he's been doing that while all these advertisers have been pulling out, and now he's decided, get this, right? He's sitting down. If you haven't already heard this is classic. Okay, so Elon Musk is suing Unilever and Mars and some other companies for not advertising on Twitter. I just leave that there. I think that's the end of that little rant because, come on. Do I get to sue Elon Musk for, I don't know, not coming around to my house and doing the fucking dishes? Like, seriously? This is what people are getting sued? Anyway, Commander DJ Burp, thank you very much for the super chat. That is very kind of you. Morning, Graham. Coffee. Yes, I've got coffee this morning, actually. So cheers for that. I'll be drinking my Tory tears. I deleted X yesterday. Not good for my mental health. So drops to Chris. Yes, I want to talk about this as well. X has turned under Musk's stewardship. It has turned into an absolute cesspit, and it is a damaging place to be if you if you for anyone really. Actually, I was going to say if you're struggling with your mental health right now, but to be honest with you, I think it's a toxic place for anyone to be. When my friends go on there, my female friends, they get threats, and obviously it's a bit early in the morning to explain exactly what those threats are, but you can imagine, just every day, as an everyday thing. And then they report these threats to the police. They do nothing. They say, well, have you thought about not being on Twitter? And they report it to Twitter. Twitter does nothing about it. Twitter has allowed celebrities, or Z-list celebrities, who use the N-word, white people using the N-word on Twitter, and it's not been deemed racist or problematic in any way. So, yeah, get off it. I'm not saying you have to delete your accounts. Just turn off your notifications. Get off it for the foreseeable, because something needs to be done about it. I think that the furore that is going to be caused by him interfering in British politics, by the CNN headline yesterday that Musk is saying, oh, Britain's heading towards civil war. Something he said about Europe 17 times last year. It's heading towards civil war. And you're just looking at him going, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, he's goading it. He wants it. He wants that war. He wants a civil war because he's a billionaire. He doesn't he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He can probably have a bunker somewhere in Switzerland and he'll survive any kind of war that goes on. I don't know how long after the war he'll survive, but, the initial fighting, he will survive that. So he doesn't care. He can provide he can build his own hospital with fully trained medical staff inside. He can, to look after him. He can have his own private army in order to protect his farm or wherever he grows his food. He can pay people to grow food for him. He will be fine in any kind of conflict. He can build a laboratory for manufacturing medicine or ketamine or whatever he thinks he needs. He has the money to do that. You don't. I don't. The vast majority of us don't. And if we were in a civil war, which is not going to happen in this country, because seriously, it's like 300 people stealing some bloody sausages from Greg's, for Christ's sake. But, sausage rolls, sorry. If there was a civil war, most people in a civil war die from starvation and disease. Something that he never will have to worry about. Unless, and here's the good bit, the UK, the US, and the EU all come together, maybe get NATO on board and the Commonwealth, and we all work together to get rid of Twitter as a platform while Musk owns it. Muscle him out. Muscle out Musk. Because let's not forget that in America, they're trying to muscle out TikTok and have a TikTok ban because it's owned by ByteDance, which is a Chinese company. And they're like, oh, it's a Chinese company. We can't have a Chinese company having so much influence over our Americans. And it's like, well, how do you let Murdoch, who's Australian, and how do you let this horrible dickhead Musk, who's South African, have so much power over your print media, your social media? Like, how can you allow that if you're not going to allow ByteDance? Oh, because the Chinese are out to get us. And I'm like, yeah, and Murdoch isn't. the Chinese are out to divide us and make us fight amongst ourselves. Yeah, and Musk isn't. So yeah, we need strong laws to threaten the hell out of Twitter. And yeah, it can be done. We saw this with Threads. When Threads first started, it wasn't allowed in the EU until they changed the way that they did things to allow the EU to say, yeah, okay, we'll let you be available on our devices. And you might be thinking, God, Graham, would they go to NATO? What? Well, you know what? It might not even have to go as far as a national government in the UK or the US standing up against Twitter. It might just take two companies, Apple and Google. If they decide to deplatform them off their app stores, then that's it for Twitter. Really? I know you can use a VPN to get around it, but the kind of people who want to post bile on there don't have the technical skills to do that kind of thing. Johnny Copperhead, thank you very much for the £5 super chat earlier. Loza, Fozza, Fartage, Taint and Co. are fashtards. You're so right. The Muskrat is the richest fashtard out there and the weirdest, I think. He I mean, you know, the guy who owns Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, he's quite weird. You know, they're all a bit odd, aren't they? They're all like the oddballs. You probably wouldn't have been mates with them in school, even if you were in like the oddball group. Then they would be a bit too odd for that group. Do you know what I mean? They're like, there's a limit of, you know, really being into a particular sci-fi franchise. That's fine, you know, or painting your citadel miniatures. That's fine. That's fine, you know. But then the one who sits in the corner pulling legs off insects and, you know, eating earwax. No, too weird. Sorry, too weird. Donald Trump, too weird. JD Vance, too weird. Musk, Loser Fox, Nigel Farage, the lot of you. You're just too freaking weird. Alec Barrett, thank you very much for the super chat, Alec. That's very kind. Elon Musk should be sanctioned by the government. I couldn't agree more, mate. I couldn't agree more. We need to come together and do something about him because unchecked, he is going to continue being as fucking crazy as he is. I mean, he's off the charts right now. I don't know if it's the ketamine. I don't know if it's the syphilis, which he may have. He may not have. I don't know. I've just heard some people say that he has got syphilis, and that's what's addling his brain because he doesn't believe in conventional medicine to treat it. So he's just using ketamine by the sounds of things. But that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. I don't know if it's true. It's just what I've heard. Johan, the answer to your question is that Murdoch and Musk have the right colour according to the knuckle draggers. Yeah, you're right. Unfortunately. Christopher Bowles, I would like someone to tell me how Murdoch, the publisher of Page 3, survives Project 2025. Well, I mean, he might not make it that far. He's 93 years old, for Christ's sake. I mean, come on. How long can the devil keep him alive? By feeding him, I don't know, baby unicorns or whatever he eats. Captain Bart Roberts, thank you very much for being a member for 9 months. Well done, matey. I'll just give you a super chat animation. Badgers in the bins this morning. Oh, badger, bloody badger. Saw a badger driving home yesterday, which was quite fun. Does he have syphilis? People are just asking questions. Yeah, I think so. And has J.K. Rowling got mold in her house? That's the big question. People are asking about J.K. Rowling. She posts pictures of herself with what looks like mold on the walls behind her. I don't think it is. Just between you and me, I think it's line drawings like they have in Japanese houses. I don't think that it's actual mold because she is a multimillionaire. But it would explain a lot. It would explain a lot. All of my friends were the disenfranchised and shy ones. My girls are the same. We adopt and befriend the outcast. But yeah, Muskrat will not be in that group. Yes, Jane. I'm a oddball to oddball. There's like, you're a little bit crazy in a fun way. You're a little bit crazy in a kind of kooky way. And then you're crazy in a psychotic way. And the psychopaths, yeah, not good. Let's go over there. You know? Donald Trump going on about Hannibal Lecter all the time. J.D. Vance going on about, I don't know, like Mountain Dew being racist and this weird obsession with dolphins and couches. I mean, what's going on there? I should talk in a moment, and I will talk about Kamala Harris's wonderful pick for Vice President Tim Walz from Minnesota. Well, he's from Nebraska, but he was the governor of Minnesota. A good choice. I'll come to that in a moment. We'll talk to that in a moment. Let's talk about Musk a little bit more before we go on to something else. Obviously, we've only got half an hour in the mornings. I never feel it's long enough. We don't need no stinking badgers, says Don K. I like what he did there. But what movie was it originally from? And don't say The Three Amigos. It wasn't from The Three Amigos originally. What were they taking the mick out of? Answers on a postcard. No prizes for this one. But it had Humphrey Bogart in, so, you know, bit of a tip. You saw a badger driving a car. Spot on, my friend. You totally rock him. Thank you very much, Jane. Thank you. You rocked. You rocked too. Still waiting for Musk to honour his promise to fight Mark Zuckerberg in a UFC fight. I'm still waiting for Musk to honour any of his promises. Apparently, according to Musk, we're supposed to have a colony on Mars by now. We're supposed to have a base on the moon. We're supposed to have the Tesla Roadster. It's 0 to 60 in 1 second. Still waiting. We're going to have a Hyperloop. We're going to have a tunnel going from LA to San Francisco. And he's going to have this tunnel, and there's going to be... In fact, the amount of money that investors have given him that he is completely blown. I mean, the $44 billion that he spent on buying Twitter, which is worth half that at the time. Now it's probably worth about a tenth of that. The investors gave him that money. And a lot of them were from places like Saudi Arabia, which I don't think take very kindly to people pissing their money up their wall, but up anyone's wall, actually, up their wall. So yes, Captain Bart Roberts, thank you so much for the super chat. It's very kind of you. If you want a good debunk channel on the space, Karen Thunderfoot is a great guy. The guy who runs it is a physicist. I watch Thunderfoot. I've been subscribed to it for many years. Rosie, 29. 11, £5 super chat. Thank you very much, Rosie, for the £5. Hello, Graham. Hello, Rosie. How you doing? Right, we're going to go over to the papers, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening in America, stateside. And look, I've had this conversation with Phil, so I'll talk to you about it. He reckons I shouldn't concentrate too much on American politics. It's like having a sports channel that does football, and then when there's no football on, it does the cricket. And everyone's like, well, why are you talking about the cricket? No one cares about the cricket. We came here for the football. Do you mind if I talk about American politics? Because that's what's going to dominate our headlines for the next, 5-6 months, depending on what happens. Longer than that. So let me know in the chat if you want me to stick to British politics. Because there is stuff going on. I know it's the silly season, but there are riots happening. There are terrorists, domestic terrorists, trying to burn down buildings with children in because of the colour of the children's skin. Because they're outraged that a child who was born in Wales went on a murder spree in Southport and murdered one of the 3 children was the children of migrants who actually got murdered. That doesn't get mentioned very much. Not that it makes much of a difference to anything, but these people are saying that he shouldn't have been in the country in the first place because he's the children of migrants, then she shouldn't have been in the country either. So get your story straight, I guess, racists. Puninator, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. If Harris wins, I think Musk will step up the crazy. He's a snowflake who can't handle other opinions. He is too weird for me. who does calculations for fun. Thank you very much for calculus. Sorry, for fun. Puninator, thank you very much for the £5 super chat, and thank you for doing calculus for fun. Someone has to. And Johnny Copperhead, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Tim Waltz, the smiling assassin. I'll debate Vance if he can get off the couch and turn up. Love it. He's the guy who basically is credited with saying that they're all weird. Okay, so over to the papers. Which hopefully will appear here. Yeah, there you go. It's cutting off the top of my hat. Look, my hat's disappearing. I need to not sit up so much in my chair. Okay, so we've got rioters facing terror charges as police brace for worst day of disorder. God, too early in the morning for this shit. And then we've got this disgusting frogman, Farage, warns Britain is at quite perilous point because of you. Scumbag. It's like the perilous point. Like, excuse me, what? I'm sorry. I need to get this guy off this. Isn't very nice to look at. We're tops for flatulence. It's a farting man. Thousands of police ready for fresh riots there. Oh, that's much better. We'll stay on this for a minute. Shame of the child rioters. This is on the Daily Mail. Yeah, Farage is the architect of all this. But the thing is, there's only a few hundred people rioting in any given city at any given time. I know a few hundred people can cause a lot of damage, especially when the police numbers can't actually manage to be the same as the number of people who are turning up and throwing missiles at the police, trying to burn down libraries and citizen advice bureaus and hotels with children in. They domestic terrorists. One domestic terrorist is one domestic terrorist too many to be out on the streets, and when you have a few hundred of them, that's quite dangerous. But let's see this in a sense of proportion. We just had a general election last month in which over 500 of the 650 MPs who were elected to progressive or left-wing parties and or left centralist, progressive, left-wing. They weren't the fash. There are very few fash MPs left in Parliament right now. 121 Tories, and hopefully that number will go down as more scandals come out, as they always do with the Tories, because scandals follow Tories around like the smell of shit on shit. Smile of the shame of the child violence. This is about kids as young as 11 facing prosecution for being involved in riots, which I think their parents should be arrested for having their children allowed to go to these riots. That is, to me, a dereliction of duty as a parent, and so I would like to see them stand trial as well. 10 years hard labour. Government gets tough as fears grow over fresh violence. Home Secretary cowardly thugs do not represent Britain. Don't forget, if you are arrested for being at one of these protests, what am I kidding? Riots. If you are at one of these riots, even if you don't throw anything at the police, if you are at them, you will eventually be identified through all the CCTV and the footage that people are putting on social media. And between now and the heat death of the universe, at some point, there will be a knock on your door. Because there is no statute of limitations for rioting offences. So it could be 15 years down the line and there's a knock on your door. And it's the police. And they will arrest you and they'll hold you in custody until sentencing or until your trial if you plead not guilty. So, I mean, you could see yourself losing your job. You could see yourself losing your house. You could see yourself losing your spouse, your access to your children, everything. Just for being there. It's worth bearing in mind. And if terrorism charges are put on top of that, it's going to be none of this 2 months for pleading guilty, which is, we think that's quite a not a harsh sentence enough, considering that guy attacked a police officer, but he pleaded guilty. That's the thing. If you plead not guilty, then you face a much stiffer sentence. That's the trade-off, isn't it? Say, I messed up, I did wrong, I'm sorry. You will get a much more lenient sentence. However, terrorism, Bueller, that's a life sentence, mate, right there. A life sentence if you get done for terrorism. And they are looking at that now. So my advice to anyone, probably not watching this, obviously, who is thinking of going out and rioting today, just bear that in mind. Just wonder to yourself, are these disgusting billionaire Nepo babies like Elon Musk and stuff, are they really worth losing your liberty over? Losing the rest of your life over? Spending 23 hours of every day in a box over? Is that it? In a concrete box in a cell with designed for one person that's got 3 people in it because of 14 years of Tory cuts. I mean, if you think it's worth it, go for it, bro. But Jesus Christ, yeah, not much up there. Marina Hyde, where are these brave race riots inciters from Tommy to Elon, far, far away. Excellent piece in The Guardian if you want to have a look at that. She makes a damn good point. Shock US winner leaves bitter rivals care and Ingebrigtsen trailing. And lawyers fear for safety amongst threats from the far right. This is the fact that a list has gone out of lawyers who help asylum seekers and other advice centres for asylum seekers that's gone out as targeted places for these goons to go out to today. So obviously there's going to be a massive police presence. If you want to counter-protest, can you have a look and make sure that there is an organised counter-protest in a way that is not going to inflame the situation and give the Nazis what they want, which is to have a fight. So if you're going out to protect a mosque, you're going out to protect a building, and there are other people there, and the police are going to be there as well. Fine, but if you want to go out and actually, get into a fight, please don't. Please don't. It's not worth it because you'll be arrested as well. And it's giving them what they want. They want that footage of Antifa fighting, and it's like, oh, they're just as bad as each other. That false equivalence. Good folks on both sides, as Trump famously said about Nazis marching in Charlottesville, because he's a cowardly little weird gobshite. Harris bets on Walters' running mate to draw in more working class voters. Hopefully that'll work. Medal heartbreak there. It looks like she's being told that she hasn't won the medal as she's diving or whatever she's doing. Rioters face terror charges, warns the director of public prosecutions. I've still not got rid of the cough. Just 1 second. Oh God, my eyes are watering. Bear with me. Wish I could just go to ads. Wish I had a producer. Quick, go to ads. cut to commercial. Rioting accused start facing court. Judgment day is here. Already people are being sentenced for their crimes. And that gets them off the street, literally, and stops them protesting anymore. So more of that, great. And like I say, there's not many of them. We just had a general election which millions and millions and millions of people voted for progressive parties. There were not millions and millions of these lunatics on our streets, thank God. Right, oh God, back to Big Graham. Hello, sorry, didn't mean to give you a fright there. The sound of the police. That's Donkey. It's very much an English problem, says Nick and Diff. In 2011, I saw some kids trying it on in Cardiff, but they were shooed off. Not taking any nonsense here. Hopefully it stays that way. Yeah, so do I. Skylar says, Elon Musk is justifying rioting, but he isn't going to lose his liberty. He sees it like a movie on the screen. I bet he even bought popcorn. Yes, the thing is, though, right, and to just go back to Elon Musk for a moment, there are other people who have defrauded investors of billions. I'm thinking of the woman behind Theranos, is it? Who set up a company in America that was supposed to be able to see if you had cancer from a blood test. She managed to raise billions. She was the youngest billionaire in history or something mad like that. Elizabeth Holmes, I think her name was. Anyway, she's in prison now. She's in prison for a very, very long time. And Sam Bankman-Fried, who was also one of these people who just defrauded people to an insane degree using cryptocurrency. Sorry, people. Anyone who's a fan of cryptocurrency watching this channel, I just want to say, okay, it's bollocks. And you may have made some money out of it in the same way that some people who gamble on the horses make money out of it. But it's not a good way of actually maintaining your wealth, because as we saw this week, the value of your commodity can go up and down like crazy in any given day because there's no fiat currency behind it. And yeah, that's the worry. And there's a lot of cowboys out there who are just creating Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies or crypto exchanges, and they're going to steal all your money, and you'll have no comeback because it's not a fiat currency. You got no comeback. You're not going to get your money back, mate. You're not. You're not. You've lost your life savings. Sorry. But it is a bit odd, isn't it, that the crypto bros and the fascists, the fashtards, they seem to be, they seem to be one of the same in many ways. And I'm not saying that everyone who's a crypto bro is into fascism, but everyone who's into fascism on the internet also seems to be big into crypto. Just saying. Like, not everyone who voted for Brexit was a racist. See you next Tuesday's voted for Brexit as well, to rob a joke off Stuart Lee. So yeah, if Sam Bankman-Fried and Elizabeth Holmes can go to jail for defrauding investors on a grand scale, then the guy who said he was going to bring the Tesla Roadster online 6 years ago and still hasn't, I think he should be going to, spending some time at, what do they have in America that's the equivalent of His Majesty's pleasure? Is it the president's president's whim? The big house. Sing sing. David Welsh, thank you very much for the €5 super chat. Oh God, I said don't mention the Brexit. Ooh, that was the wrong animation, wasn't it? Ironically, if we pulled out of the ECHR, we could bring back internment without trial. Mr. Farage would be the first MP interned. Just a thought. Very true. Crypto pyramid scheme, says Billy Kershaw. It is indeed. That's why people try and get you to invest in crypto, because it makes their crypto worth more. It's a pyramid scheme. Like, this never happens with any other investment. It's not like people will go around going, you need to buy a house. You need to buy a house for an investment. Why? Because I've got a house. And if you buy a house, my house will be worth more. And it's like, that's how it works. I've got a bank account. It's got higher rate interest on it. You need one. You need to get a high rate interest account with Barclays. Why? Because I've got one. If you get one as well, then that would be great because that'll get me more interest. No, it won't. Your interest is set. That's it. It's 5%, whatever it is. That's it. The number of people who have high rate interest accounts isn't going to affect, so no one's evangelizing about other investments. It's always crypto because it's a pyramid scheme. Anyway, get into a fight with everyone in the chat now. Bitcoin works. It's effective gold. It's an asset. All the shit coins, not so much. Lee says, my younger brother works for a refugee advice centre in Dover. They have been told by the police to stay shut today or work from home. That's happened in Durham and some other places. People have been told not to turn up, which is disgusting. Just a note about the cryptocurrency thing there. Bitcoin was set up by a guy. No one knows who this guy is. No one knows where this guy is. This guy probably has a backdoor key to steal all your Bitcoin at some point in the given future. If he doesn't, he can sue me for saying this. But I don't think he's going to because he's anonymous. No one really knows who he is. And he's probably got a backdoor key. And at some point, he's going to go, ooh, Bitcoin's worth $1 trillion. I'd like to be the world's first trillionaire. Thank you very much. Zook. And he'll take all the money that people have put into Bitcoin out of Bitcoin. And it'll collapse because he could do that. I don't know. There's nothing to stop him. There's no regulations. It's Bitcoin. It's it. Oh, good old crypto. Crypto fascism, cryptocurrency, coincidence, says Eddie Beth. No, I love the fact that Red Dwarf was onto crypto fascism way back in the early 90s. That's quite impressive. It's very impressive. Well done, the writers of Red Dwarf, Rob Grant and Doug Naylor. Well done, you guys. You came up with the term that we would need in 30 years hence. Crypto is a massive burden on energy production and the environment, says Johan. It is indeed. Personally, I prefer broad commodities over fund over gold as an inflation hedge, as gold correlates with panic, but commodities correlate with energy costs. That's Cisco edge there. Blue Badger 88 could be Putin's horse. It could be Putin's horse. Anyway, I just want to talk a little bit. Oh God, it's 10:05. The time just goes, doesn't it? I just want to talk a little bit about Tim Watts, the pick for American VP for the Democrat Party. I don't know. I'm trying to just scroll up now to see if anyone said, please don't talk about America. I can't see anyone saying, please don't talk about America. So I'm just going to talk about America for just a minute, and then I'm going to bugger off and leave you to James O'Brien or whatever you want to do this morning. Maybe you want to go and have breakfast. I've had no breakfast yet. Could do with some. JD Vance is the Republican vice president pick, and he is looking like more and more of a toxic asset every day. And what Tim Walz, the Democrat pick for VP, has done brilliantly is just pick out the one thing that the Republicans just can't deny. Actually, no, it's two things. It's two things that they can't deny, and it really snookers them. One of which is that they're weird. And we've spoken about this on this channel already quite a lot. It's a brilliant attack line because you don't need to explain it. If you go, oh, they're anti-democrat, they're working with Putin, they're fascists. You have to explain it. You have to go, well, because he did this, he did that, he did that. Whereas weird is brilliant because it's self-evident. You just need a clip of them just being weird, which is all the clips of them, and you say, that's weird. See that? That's weird. See that? That's also weird. But the other thing that Tim Walz does really, really well, right? So he is a moderate. He's very much middle of the road. He's got friends who are Republicans. He made it in Minnesota, which is quite a red state. It's quite it's not a particularly democratic state, generally speaking. And with a majority of like one, he managed to get a lot of progressive policies through. And he's been accused of being tampon Tim by Trump because he gave free sanitary towels and made it so free sanitary towels and tampons were given out to students in young students in schools across Minnesota. And you're like, oh yeah, well, a bastard. This guy is giving young women, free period care. Whereas what Trump wants to do is he wants to take away their right to bodily autonomy. Great. And this is the other thing that Tim Walz has got onto, and I'm so glad that they have, because I felt like the Republicans needed to have this kicked out of them for a very long time, because the Republicans pretend that they are the party of freedom, and they equate freedom with having any weapon of mass destruction that you want, so you can go and kill all your neighbors or all the kids down the school. They aren't for freedom. They are for the curtailment of freedom. And Tim Walz points this out. They are the people who want to be in your bedroom watching you have sex, saying, you're doing it wrong. That's the problem. They are government overreach, reaching into people's ovaries and making sure that they do what is mandated by the government with them. That isn't freedom. That is the opposite of freedom. That is oppression. And the Democrats need to hammer them on this, hammer the Republicans on this one. So yeah, Tim Walz, I'm glad that they've picked him. I think he's a good pick. I think it's a sensible pick. I don't know how much really in reality your VP pick has on the turnout of the election in the end, and no one will know till after the election, I guess. But at the event last night, there was so much positivity, so much exuberance, laughter, people having fun, people smiling, and it was such a massive contrast with the Republican Party, which was just anger, spite, backbiting, slander, libel, just name calling, just the whole gamut of horribleness, bitterness. The Republicans just look like bitter, twisted old men who want to control the sex lives of the young out of, I don't know, jealousy, I guess. And they want to sit in your bedroom, perched at the end of your bed, telling you that you're doing it wrong and putting you in jail if you don't, you don't do it in the way that they deem acceptable. And the Democrats needed to make a massive contrast to that, and I think they have. So, they've got the wind behind them at the moment. Hopefully they can keep it up. Hopefully they can stick the landing, and hopefully the spectre of Donald Trump being the president of the United States of America, Project 2025 coming to fruition, hopefully it's not going to happen. Touch wood. I'm a bit more hopeful than I was a month ago. Put it that way. Right. Okay. So, hello there. Hello there. Hello there. Hello there. Thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Mr. Waltz Harris pick fairly down to earth. Yeah, he is. And, it just seems like a normal bloke, which is needed because the people who they're fighting against are not normal. Yeah. In any way, shape, or form. Don K, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. Well, actually, no, it's a £20 super chat because you put £2 10 in. So thank you very much for that. Cough Fund By the way, for what it's worth, I'm American Canadian here. 12 years of Brit now, so I feel free to ask me anything about politics in the colonies. And I've ran as an independent MP here. Incumbent Tory MP was a lock-in. And I've waited till this recent election for 4 years to run again. I didn't for a bunch of reasons. Bigly the tide of OMG, we would have grown up government. So not my time. More cough fun. Thank you so much, Don, for that. American Canadian in the house. It's like a sensible person from North America. No offense to Americans or Canadians by that, but yes, I watched Deadpool this week, and that was a good bit of Canada. That was a fun bit of Canada. Well, I suppose Hugh Jackman is Australian, but the character of Deadpool is Canadian, apparently. Stephanie says Brian Taylor Cohen is my favorite YouTube American political stroke legal commentator. I like for legal stuff. I really like the legal. I think they do a really, really good channel. I like Brian Taylor Cohen as well. I like the Midas Touch, although I do find their thumbnails a little bit OTT. But then again, I can't talk. The weird is the best ever, says Donkey. And Johan says the VP pick has some effect on the candidate's chances. John McCain's campaign was basically scuppered 2 weeks after he announced his VP, Sarah Palin. Very good point. So I guess if you pick someone who's, okay in the eyes of the voters, then it might help a little bit. But if you pick someone who's bloody awful, like J.D. Vance, you're going to ride that whole roller coaster all the way down to the depths of hell. Where you belong, Donny. That's where you belong, in hell, burning with your orange skin. Watched Deadpool last night. Absolute blast. Loved it, says Nick and Dip. It's very, very funny. Turn off your brain and just enjoy it. Right, so I'm going to head off now before anyone puts any spoilers in for Deadpool. On my days, but true. Sorry about that. Maple syrup for the throat. Thank you very much, Don. Yes, good idea, actually. Maple syrup. I've been using honey a lot. I've been having lots of lem sips and I'm adding more honey, but maple syrup might be a little bit of a nice change. Night Parade, the VP pick might be helpful if they're from a swing state and are locally popular. It could swing the state to the Democrats, yeah. Which is one of the surprises that they didn't pick Josh Shapiro because he is he could bring Pennsylvania, Penn State, along with him. However, that might not be the case with Josh Shapiro because he is unliked by the left because he's very vocal in his support for Israel. And even though Tim Walz is actually just as pro-Israel as Josh Shapiro probably is, he's been a little less vocal about it. And I think that the left of the party are going to criticize him less overall than they would have happened if they'd picked Josh Shapiro. So, but I like Josh Shapiro as well. But unfortunately, the war that is going on in Gaza, well, call it a war. The slaughter that is going on in Gaza is caused by one man who wishes not to go to jail, Benjamin Netanyahu. Do you know any other carnage going on around the world that's being caused by one person who doesn't want to go to jail? Anyway, ask the Bangladeshis. They just got rid of their PM. Don't overdo the Lemsips. Natural best. Nature wants me dead, my friend. Who's that? Mr. TSK 27. Nature wants me. Nature gave me this cold in the first place. That was nature. It wasn't Lemsips. Please stay safe out there today, everyone. Hey. And Ian says, I got banned from a channel last night for saying media should be free. Stop drinking tap water. Slight tinge of sewage this morning. I'm not drinking tap. Drinking bloody hot. I'm boiling it. Putin says Chris Whitehead. Yeah, indeed. Right, so thank you very much for watching. I've gone way over time. You got an extra 15 minutes. Thank you. But also, thank you for the super chat. So that keeps me going, doesn't it? I can't leave while it still says it. It comes up at the top of the screen with the super chats. And it has a little countdown until they disappear. I need to at least finish till get to there. But I would like to say thank you so much for the chat today. Really fun. I wish I could get through everyone's messages, but obviously it's just not enough time. Thank you for the super chats. That's really kind of you. Phil will be back in the morning at 9:30 for another morning brew. I'm going to try and do a show later today. I don't know if I'll be able to get anything out, but if I can, please join us for that. At the moment, our friend Rachel is on holiday, so she can't make it for an episode of The Intersection, but we'll hopefully have that back next week. But like I say, Phil will definitely be here tomorrow morning at 9:30 for another round of Morning Brew. Please stay safe. If you see any agitation going on in your hometown, please get out of there. Please stay away and make sure that the hooligans that aren't given, well, the terrorists, the domestic terrorists are not given what they want, which is to have a fight. These people are racist, misogynistic scumbags, and they're being told what to do by millionaires and billionaires who wouldn't piss on them if they were on fire. Unless they could piss petrol. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Give us a like on the way out. And until then, hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.